Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 211th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube, and this battle was supplied by Brotherhood member TR. Okay, the first member of the team is Crimson Overlord. He's called himself Pain in this battle, but it is actually Brotherhood member Crimson Overlord, and he has bought this Seleucid faction. Just having a quick look at his army. As you can see here, the vast majority of infantry are silver shield units, and not what you might expect as pike units there. I think he's got about 14, something like that, or 12 of those silver shield units, and he's got one silver shield pike unit there. So that's an unusual Seleucid army to bring to the 31k battlefield there, because usually most people bring pikes. And then of course he's got the infamous Cataphract cavalry, as we often call them, the tanks of the ancient world. And I'd just like to draw your attention to the upgrades on these Cataphract cavalry. As you can see, they've got 8 upgrades. So that's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack, and that makes these units incredibly strong. So it'll be interesting to see how those Cataphract cavalry do during the course of the battle. And the next teammate is Brotherhood member Uther, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. Just like to draw your attention to Uther's got the old school Roman armoured cavalry general there. And if I'd like to draw your attention to the upgrades on that unit, they're absolutely maxed upgrades. So he's got 9 upgrades on there. That's 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So this unit is a very formidable unit, and it makes it even more elite with those upgrades on. The next teammate is Brotherhood member Conan. As we've said in other battle videos, the co-founder of the Brotherhood there, and if you notice there, he's only got 3 cavalry units, which is unusual. Plus, he's also bought the old school Roman cavalry general. And then their last teammate is the supplier of this battle, and that is Brotherhood member TR, who has bought the Julia unit. So there's a lot of experience in this team. I know that Conan, Uther and TR have been playing Rome Total War since it first came out, and I think Crimson Overlord has been playing for at least 10 years. So I would think there's probably something like 45 years of combined RTW experience there in this team. So it'd be interesting to see how well they do, but you wait till you see the other team. Lots of experience there too. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Mystique, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Fokker. A lot of RTW veterans remember Fokker. And if you notice here, he's split his main army into 2 armies there. I think he's one of the first people on RTW to actually do this on virtually every battle. He split his army into 2. And it was a very versatile way of using an army, splitting them into 2, and he usually used them extremely well. And then their third teammate is Brotherhood member Cal, who's also bought the Rome Scipio faction. And their final teammate is Brotherhood member Killer B, who has also bought the Rome Scipio faction. So there is loads and loads of years of experience in this team as well. This should be a classic game for you to watch, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, at this very early stage of the battle here, you can see that Brotherhood member TR is starting to do a slight right flanking action there. But if you notice that Mystique is bringing part of her army over to counter any flanking action there by TR. So this right flank could well be where the action kicks off, but of course on these particular battles it can start anywhere. If you notice that Conan has aggressively ran his army forward there towards Fokker's forward units. Conan's always renowned for being extremely aggressive on the RTW battlefield there, so that movement doesn't surprise me. As you can see, a lot of pilot exchanges going on right at the very early stages of this battle. And a nice little cavalry charge there by Cal, coming into the open order pilot shield units there. And if you notice that Uther's just charged his cavalry general in there to help try and neutralise that cavalry attack.
We're under attack! They're attacking us!
And there's a general overview. As I say, this is a very early stage of the battle here.
They're attacking us!
As you can see, Mystique has brought her army, both infantry and cavalry, out quite wide on this right flank here. As I say, they must have detected that TR was thinking of doing a flanking action there, and they moved to block it. As you can see here, a nice little move there by the Julii cavalry there to attack some of the Scipii open order forward units there. If you notice, Scipii cavalry started to do a counter attack there.
We're under attack! They're attacking us!
Meanwhile, over on this far flank, you can see that Crimson Overlord's Seleucid army is facing Killer Bee's Scipii army. Let's just pause the game for a second here. Now, my guess is that the Scipii team here will look at this flank as being the weak spot of the enemy army, because the Seleucid Silver Legionnaires are kind of no match for the urban cohorts. So my guess is that as I said, the Scipii team may well look at this as a weak point. Yes, they've got those tank cavalry, but it wouldn't surprise me if they attacked on this right flank, as they would view it as a weak spot there. And just looking down at having a general look at the overview of the battle here, you can see there's a few units skirmishing at this time. But obviously the main battle has yet to really kick off. But as I say, that Seleucid army on that other flank there, I would have thought would have been an inviting target for the Scipii team, as they would have probably looked at that as a weak point of the the enemy battle line there. I notice there's a lot of cavalry, fast-moving cavalry strikes going in, and counter-attacking cavalry hits as well. It's kind of like both teams are kind of sizing each other up at the moment with these kind of mini strikes of cavalry and just little nuisance hits with infantry units and things like that. If you notice, there's a lot of fire arrows going into this Scipii cavalry there. Remember, fire arrows cause casualties, not only cause casualties, but also spread fear in the units that they're hit with those fire arrows, and therefore lowers morale. And as I say, you can see Uther's 3 archer units there, and I think the Seleucid archer units there, all targeting that Scipii cavalry with fire arrows.
We're under attack! We're under attack! We're being attacked!
Here you can see Killer's forward pilot shield units there, throwing a lot of pilots into Uther's units there. As I said, I would have thought that this Seleucid army would have been a good target for the Scipii team here. As I say, yeah, they got those tank cavalry to back them up, but I still think that it would be a worthwhile target, as I'm sure the Scipii team will view this this left flank Seleucid army as a weak spot. I think Crimson Overlord was thinking about putting his forward units into Testudo there, and then decided to change his mind as the Scipii army in front of him kind of backed off. You see, as I said, there's a little bit of skirmishing going on there between some of the Julii infantry and Scipii infantry, but I think the main battle is yet to kick off. Right, let's just pause the game for a second. If you notice here, Fokker's got his first army in contact with the Julii army there, but he's got his secondary army up behind that, so he can use that army anywhere he likes on the battlefield. That's always a good tactic with two armies. His forward army either used to attack or stand its ground. Well, he could move his other mini army off to another flank or something like that to help his allies if needed. So that was quite a versatile way of using his army there. And as I say, in most battles he did this, and he became very good at using his two mini armies. As you can see here, Uther's charging some cavalry in there to the Scipii infantry. But as I say, it's just mostly a bit of skirmishing at the moment before any major action takes place. As I say, there Uther's Roman auxiliary archers there with their long range are making sure they target the cavalry. If you notice here, he's got his auto fire off of his archers because he don't want to waste arrows. What he wants to do is really target the enemy cavalry when they come into range. So nice little move there by Uther. As you can see, there's a lot of Julii cavalry there behind their infantry, ready to strike when needed. And over here on the right flank, you see TR, as say, initially he was looking, I think, to do a right flank in action, but Mystique moved a lot of her army out to that flank there, and I think that that kind of stopped TR from going any further, as I'm sure he wouldn't want to be isolated on that right flank. Nice to bring a cavalry out wide like TR has just done there. Just sit them out there and just wait to see when you can use them in an opportune moment coming in from the flank. There's a general overview of the battle at the moment. As I said earlier, I'd have thought Scipii would have been more aggressive on this flank here to try and take on the Seleucid, because obviously those Seleucid silver shield units are, as I said earlier, no match for the urban cohorts, and I thought that would have been a good target area for the Scipii team to hit. Should be interesting to see what happens as the battle progresses.
We're under attack!
At this stage of the battle, you can see that Killer B has brought his Scipii army closer to Crimson Overlord's Seleucid army there, and there's a little bit of pilot exchange going on. Let's say the Silver Shield Legionnaires are they're kind of like modelled a bit like the urban cohorts, but their specifications are a lot smaller than the urban cohorts, so they're not really a match for the Roman herbs there. Anyway, there's Silver Shield Legionnaire unit going into Testudo. And as I say, it looks like Crimson Overlord there probably be expecting an attack from the Scipii army in front of him there. You see Uther there is skirmishing with some of the Scipii units in front of him. Meanwhile, over on the right flank here, you can see that TR has done an aggressive attack there with his cavalry, routed a couple of the enemy Scipii units on that right flank. And if you notice that Mystique's urban cohorts there, she probably put them on to auto fire, and I think Uther would have suffered a lot of TR would have suffered a lot of cavalry casualties there from those pilot hits. I think on this right flank you've got Mystique's army, and it wouldn't surprise me if Fokker tried to move out some of his Scipii units to this flank as well. Here you go. Fokker's already got some of his infantry units out onto this flank, ready to either attack or repel any attack there by TR. Here TR is now aggressively attacking with that infantry unit there. If you notice, there's a Scipii cavalry, couple of cavalry units charging in there as well. Lots of pilot exchanging going on here. Did you notice that Scipii cavalry attack charged in, took out that one unit it was probably aiming for in like kind of a surgical strike, and then TR counter-attacked with his cavalry, but the Scipii cavalry moved back then as they'd achieved what they wanted to. Okay, can you see a lot of Scipii cavalry charging into TR's engaged infantry here, and bang as that cavalry hits. That's a lot of cavalry units there charged into TR's, as I said, TR's engaged infantry units, and there's a few of them starting to rout now at this stage of the battle. As you can see here, TR is counter-attacking with his cavalry as well, trying to take a bit of pressure off his infantry. But just like to draw your attention to the Seleucid Cataphract tank cavalry have arrived behind TR's infantry there. Nice bit of support there by his teammates. Let's just pause again for a second. Okay, so you can see that TR is under a lot of pressure here on this right flank, but Crimson Overlord's brought his Seleucid tank cavalry over. I think Uther's brought some of his cavalry over as well to help on this right flank. And you can see there's a heck of a lot of enemy Scipii infantry and cavalry on this flank as well. I think maybe this flank could be a pivotal part of the battle when the action starts there. You can see that Mystique's put several units in Testudo there, which makes a good defence line. Conan's got a lot of his units in Testudo as well. Meanwhile, over on the other flank, you can see that Uther's Julii infantry have kind of got as close as they can to his teammates' Seleucid infantry there, try and give him a bit of support if the Scipii army attacks there. Okay, you can see the Julii cavalry charging in there, trying to take the pressure off of TR's infantry there. Nice little hit there by Uther's cavalry. If you notice, Crimson Overlord just sat there quietly at the back with those Seleucid tank cavalry, just waiting for the right time to charge them in. Probably going to move them about a little bit to get into a better attacking position. As you can see, there's a lot of enemy Scipii cavalry out there as well as a lot of Scipii infantry fighting with the Julii infantry there. Right, if you notice, Uther's charging his cavalry in there. Well, he was charging and then he decided not to, and then the Scipii cavalry are charging in. TR's cavalry is charging in as well now. Still, Crimson Overlord sits with those Seleucid tank cavalry there, just waiting for the opportunity to go in. Okay, now if you notice that TR's pulled his cavalry back and Uther's charging his cavalry in now. Right, okay, both TR and Uther's cavalry are all engaged, plus don't forget TR's got tired infantry units fighting there as well. But if you notice, Crimson Overlord decided to move his cavalry in. Remember, that's 6 units of 8 upgrades on each of those cavalry units, and bang, as that heavy cavalry strikes into the heart of the Scipii engaged infantry there. And if you notice that straight away, a lot of the Scipii units start to rout there on the hit from those that heavy Seleucid cavalry. Let's just pause the game for a second there. As you can see there, Crimson Overlord sat for a while there with his cavalry and then just charged in when he thought it was best to do that, and he's routed a lot of Scipii infantry there, including the Scipii general. I think Mystique's general has just been routed as well, so of course the morale of all Mystique's forces will go down. Meanwhile, over in the right centre there, you can see there's still a bit of skirmishing going on, and as you move over to the centre, still more skirmishing. And if you notice over here now, you can see that Killer B has started his attack on the Seleucid line there. As I say, they would have viewed the Seleucid as the weak spot of the battlefield there, and I'm surprised they haven't hit it harder. But I see Killer B is attacking it now. As I say, they should have hit it harder and sooner, in my opinion, because I think they could have maybe broke this flank with the cavalry and the infantry that they had. As you see, Killer charging his cavalry in there, knowing that the Seleucid Cataphract cavalry are away at the moment. He's charged his cavalry in there to make the most of it. Meanwhile, over on this other flank here, you can see that a heck of a lot of the enemy Scipii army has now been routed there. And if you notice that Crimson Overlord's taking his Cataphract cavalry back over to the other flank there to support his infantry. Okay, can you see TR there charging his cavalry in at an angle on the flank there? Nice little cavalry hit by him there. And we actually move on up the battlefield here. You can see there's a lot of engagement going on at this time.
We're under attack! We're being attacked!
So as you can see now, Crimson Overlord brought all his Cataphract cavalry back over to this flank now to support his infantry. And over on the other flank, you can see that the Julii army has basically taken out the Scipii army's left flank there, looking at it from this side.
Units, advance! Units, forward!
But don't forget, there's a lot of experience in both teams here. And even though it looks quite bad for the Scipii team over on that left flank, with the experience and skill that this team's got, they might even be able to turn this around at as the battle progresses here. We just have to wait and see. Once again, if you notice, Crimson Overlord just sat there with his Cataphract tank cavalry there. He's not going to be flustered. He's not going to attack just for the sake of it. He's just waiting for the right opportunity to charge in with his cavalry there. As you can see there, the victorious Julii infantry are moving over from that right flank to probably with a view to try and roll up the Scipii line from that right to left there. But whether the skill and the experience of the Scipii team will turn this around, we'll just have to wait and see. If you notice here that Crimson Overlord's put his Seleucid infantry into testudo mode there, so he's got them in a defensive position there. As I say, he's got them backed up by his cavalry there. But I think even though the Scipii team lost their left flank, I think they inflicted a lot of casualties on the Julii team there. So even though it's looking pretty bad for the Scipii team, it's not absolutely irreversible yet. Right, if you notice here on this right flank here that Focker's moved some of his infantry out there, and if you notice that Crimson Overlord's moving his Seleucid both infantry and cavalry out there to kind of match that Scipii infantry to stop them flanking. In the centre here you can see there's a big battle going on there, and over on this other flank here you can see that Mystique has brought some of her cavalry units out there and an infantry unit as well, probably with a view to flank the Julii team here. So if you look at the units in general, there's no overwhelming numbers on either side still at this stage of the battle. If you notice the Scipii team charging into the Julii team, they're probably looking to take out that Julii general that's there. Can you see the Julii general that's sat there? Obviously they know that if they can take the general out, then they will lower the morale. They've just killed the Julii general there, and so they know that a lot of the Julii troops' morale will now drop and they'll be more susceptible to routing. As you can see here, there's a big clash going on here on this flank. If you notice that Crimson Overlord's brought his Seleucid tank cavalry over to this side, seeing the danger to his teammates. Right, let's just pause the game for a second for us to take stock of what's actually happened. Right, can you see a lot of the Julii team units now are starting to rout after that massive hit by the Scipii infantry and cavalry. Now Crimson Overlord, as I say, has brought his Cataphract tank cavalry over to try and shore up this flank, because even though, like I said earlier, the Scipii did lose their left flank, with their skill and experience they could still turn this battle around here. And as you can see, with so many Julii units starting to rout now, this game is still very much in the balance at this stage. If you can see Julii units coming around to flank, Scipii units coming around to flank, engaged Julii troops there. I think that timely intervention by the Cataphract cavalry there, it wouldn't surprise me if he pushed that cavalry on through the Scipii lines, so he would then be in behind the engaged Scipii infantry. Be interesting to see what Crimson Overlord does with that cavalry there. Let's say it wouldn't surprise me if he did push on through that Scipii line, just to get behind those engaged Scipii infantry there. And there you go, he's pushed that cavalry through that enemy Scipii line, so he's now in behind the engaged enemy Scipii troops there. Nice little move there by Crimson Overlord. But if you just look at the blue and the red army here, you can see that looking at the units, it's still pretty evenish. But I'm just thinking that tank cavalry in behind that engaged Scipii infantry could maybe could be what makes the difference in this battle. Right, just pause the game for a second. As you can see here, a lot of the Julii units are like surrounded on three sides, so their morale will have dropped. A lot of their generals are dead. Yeah, you can see that the tank Cataphract cavalry are behind the engaged Scipii troops there. But if you just look at it now, the overall battle, you can see that it's still pretty even, and the battle is still up in the air at the moment. Be interested to see how this develops. If you notice, the Scipii team have recognised the danger of the Seleucid cavalry in behind them, and are moving infantry units out to try and counter any cavalry attack by them. If you notice here, the Scipii cavalry has just charged in to the flank of the Julii team there, infantry. Right, there's an attack from the Cataphract cavalry, and bang as that cavalry hits. Remember, that Cataphract cavalry have got 8 upgrades on each, 2 experience stripes, gold attack, gold defense, and he just charged him straight into the flank and the rear of those engaged Julii troops there. What a hit that cavalry went in doing there. But if you notice, there's still a lot of Julii units starting to rout here, as well as Scipii units. Now, if you notice with those tank cavalry, what we talked about in other battle videos, we charge the cavalry in, get the full cavalry charge bonus and pull out quickly. Well, with these Cataphract cavalry, their defense is so good with those upgrades on as well, that they stayed in there longer than what you would normally with ordinary cavalry. So Crimson Overlord went in there, killed loads of the Scipii troops there, and then just pulled out when he was ready there. Right, there's a general overview of the battle. Can you see there's Scipii cavalry in behind in the engaged Julii cavalry there? And as you can see, just looking at blue and red, remember the 2 teams are blue and red, and just looking at it here, I'm sure you'd agree that the battle is still really on a knife edge on which way it's going to go. And bearing in mind that the Scipii team lost their flank earlier on in the battle, I think they've done well to really turn this battle around to possibly even winning it. But I'm just thinking that that Cataphract cavalry there could be maybe be the difference there. Right, at this stage of the battle, can you see that Crimson Overlord is splitting his cavalry? 3 units one way, 4 units one way, 2 units another. And what he's going to do is do a split cavalry charge here. Nice little hit there by him, coming in from one angle. I think he just killed one of the Scipii generals there, and then charging in from the other angle there. Nice little hit. And if you notice, a lot of the Scipii units now are starting to rout. Hammer and anvil attack. Notice the Julii infantry were the anvil, and the heavy Cataphract cavalry were the hammer there. So nice hammer and anvil attack there by Crimson Overlord.
The enemy general is dead. His men know their doom approaches.
And I think that
A day of victory.
that looks like that TR's team has managed to go on and win this battle now. First thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game there. That was I thought actually it says average victory there, but looking at how close the battle was at the end, I thought it was going to be a close battle there. I thought the Scipii team did extremely well from that losing their left flank earlier on in the game, and then turning that battle around to almost winning it. So really well done to the Scipii team, and really well done to Uther, Conan, TR and Crimson Overlord. Great teamwork there. Just like to draw your attention, if you notice that Killer Bee's got the highest kills in the game there. But newer players watching this, getting the highest kills of the game doesn't always mean that you're in the winning team. Obviously, most of the time it does, but it doesn't always mean that. And if you look at the kills in the other team there, the Julii and the Seleucid team, you'll see that on average they've got more kills than the Scipii team there. But really well played to both teams there. I thought there's lots of skill. Some great cavalry attacks there, and it was nice to see how well the tank Cataphract cavalry was handled there by Crimson Overlord. Never panicked once, waited for the right chance to charge in, and did extremely well with them. So Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed the battle. Thanks very much TR for supplying it, and bye for now.